Mm. Evet. Evet. Page for showing them. Oh, yeah. These are three. She didn't grade it yet, right? The draft. Is it, she graded yet or no?
So I like practically basically I put it on the phone it's on there too. So if I hear thank you. I explained that these things I do on the bottoms of things from the like do like that. So okay, so insert it's really messed up the so and then she's the one that's the best camera because I didn't know that but then I saw that too like yeah so you can't talk to me some of them yeah right I just kind of and that's the thing that everything else I changed in there it's up right. And since it's based on confidence, I did it. I thought I would do it for like 2 years to do it. I was like, no, it's not something I do it. And I literally used the next test and we did it in like 2 weeks. I use it. I should have done mothers because I knew mothers. And it's so funny. It's twisted up. It's like with it. It's
You didn't get score yet?
not that the next week, not February.
No, nobody. Even though that's the first group, nobody.
Yeah.
I thought you guys got it because you were a long time already.
What do you think about it? Like, what is your another lot? This one. Say yeah. It's a lofty, right? Are you taking any other yeah. This one and yeah, the kind of loaded it. Yeah, just finished. Do you want to put in so much either? That was fast. Like that is this is these online same thing. We went there once. Keep it, but you guys so many people. We might take that. I love it. I could have your own writing.
Mhm.
Like a very nice. And secretly everything. You know, if I just secret. Like what's happening with the but paper, it's just different. Paper is necessary. She said, and I excited and I did it. Just not right. So I looked at her paper and first I'm excited and they don't say it. I'm like, just did the thing. So I was like, no, they're not very particular about it. Oh, as long as it's like, it's their, unless they're like saying, well, oh yeah, during, yeah. Sometimes I'll just be like, well, according to this guy, yeah, and then yes, you're supposed to like practice. Yeah. I think that's true because it's not. If I pour the straw in classes. Yeah. Yeah. Like as long as I was at the end of the more. What about like the most expensive? Mine's is not as cultural because, like I said, I just say it with them. Like I Google Doc. I was trying to just right, is that right? Although it took me days and days and days because I didn't. Yeah, it's a different thing. If you they can yeah. I sit down, this is where they start. Okay with it. Right, you don't know which piece to do. See on my computer, it's pink. It's pink, right? It's just the back looks better. But it's nice. I like the squares like about the outline. I couldn't figure that out. So yeah, yeah, margins. My favorite. It's good, especially like reflection about my class for it's one thing. Yeah. About the student. Yeah, about like what I guess the learning. I hope so. So then so this is not it is great. What I wonder if this part I think you I wonder if they'll say this and that. So it's like one person, two videos, right? Four videos. Or yeah, yeah. You have to, I put that to my April 5th. Okay, that's. Yeah. Yeah. Right. But she's a teacher. You would post yours as a teacher. I don't know if that's it on that. Okay. That means so then you don't have to send it on. Okay. And then with the video, that's when we do the reflection, right? Yeah. But you. Or maybe you put polls to see, or you put post a video where you go. Good, how are you? According to. Yeah. Because I think the words that we have still use. And the computer says the premium. The house is the kind of so you see but they explain to us. And it's like this. My friend, she really does help her. I really does that. Yeah, she said, you can walk on Dr. Reddy to found out. Somebody's updating his started to take long. County friend video, friend the video. Your phone, clearly her first video, she did it. Including her phone. So we have to redo it, and we're very much for every time. Because I want to never be. And then it was like the next video, we're like, okay, what are we doing? I wonder if it's very fun. Do you think that's fine? Oh, definitely. How did you feel? Do you know what that stuff? Think that would do. I'm gonna get started right away, so people who are late. So we have some information today. We'll get our discussion is about language development that is continuation of language development. But I want to start with the question that I finished. So I want to know if any of you who are taking content preparation sessions or using any resources, think that just two. So if you're not using those systems to prepare for the content test, what is the resource? Maybe you don't know about that. Don't have time. So just two people. Wait, are you not preparing for the test? Not necessarily it's lost, but in local you have to pass the test before everyone thinking about it. Block 3, yeah, block 3 and then block 4. Yeah. Can you say something about it, please, so that people know what resources are available? Nancy and
Or,
yeah.
I'm taking a review with Dr. Carr.
Yeah.
Dr. Carr. A lot of what is being that she's teaching us is more for like elementary yet, but there's some early childhood stuff in there. But it's beneficial. I think Dr. Carr does a great job in supplying us with study guides and just she'll always dedicate a half hour of the session to doing practice questions of all different kinds. She does a great job of discussing in further detail why something's worded a specific way, what we should really be prepared of how certain questions are written and how the answers could be tricky, but then how to kind of get over that hurdle of tricky questions. So that's kind of like what I would say about it. It's beneficial. Dr. Carr does a really good job of just explaining a lot of the content, the purpose of it, and then just how to get over the hurdles of just a question. And just her resources that she gives us too. She gives us a lot of multiple links of different sites that you can go to practice test questions. So that's also very helpful too. Yeah, and there's actually been a lot of like phonics, like those like types of definitions. So being in this class definitely helps.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that this class and the next one will take it to me next semester are key in that. I'm glad to hear that Dr. Sarah does a really good job helping out. The resources, some of those resources, you don't even have to meet with anybody. Just explore them on your own and discover the fact. The worst scenario is if the test that goes fast, the money is gone. And then you have to prepare for it again and say it again. How much do you pay the test of everybody?
I don't know.
110.
It was 100 and something.
They don't have to do that twice or more. So block 2, which is where you are now, is a really good space to start working with those resources since they're available anyway. And there is someone who is available in the university to provide the service. I don't know why anybody would use it for it. That prepares you well, so you know that is one shot at the test and pass. So for the first time, second time you pass. We have had students who have done like 5 times. Just think of the money, the time and the frustration that you have to go through to reach 5 times. You start feeling like you don't know anything. We do not know. And what you mentioned, Sandra, Sandra, about tricky questions.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot about from my students. Every group. That was not tricky. No, it's not tricky. It is the level of thinking that you're supposed to elevate yourself to.
Yes.
Because if the answer is too obvious, you don't have to think much. You just read through it. Oh, this is the answer. But when the answers are so close together, it's like if the answers are not apart, you get to, oh yeah, this is the one. But if they're so close that you have to think really highly in terms of the content that you learn, so that you can figure out which one is the correct and best. Has to be both, correct and best. Then you get it right. What students do is just scan through, like, I think I know this one, boom. You got it wrong. Because the most obvious answer that will come to mind is also there. So you have to think beyond that most obvious one, which could be wrong. So some of those skills are really, we cannot teach them in class enough. So we're very happy that Dr. Carr does it for elementary, but also in childhood. And at least the test taking skills are pretty much the same. You are given mostly case scenarios. Have you looked at the practice patterns? Okay. They are mostly practice scenarios that are related to practice more than theoretical understanding of something. You cannot claim your way in passing anything. Absolutely not. Maybe a point. But if you bank on remembering, you're doomed from the beginning. You better understand. It has to be some interaction of your thinking process. Remembering will never work. At least never work for me, and that work for many people. I don't know. Do you think that remembering works for you in any examination scenario or testing? Raise your hand, please, because I'm surprised. Because some of my students start to remember things and they probably do, I don't know. Does remembering work for anybody? You're not sure. Maybe it does. For me, it is zero. Forget it. I just have to understand it, weave it into my cognition, and when I need to work it out, I have to find the answer somewhere there. You know, by thinking, not by pulling it from memory. No, that doesn't work. So that's why they have the most obvious answers right there for someone who doesn't think much. And then they have the answers that are more in-depth for the thinker. So you don't want to be trapped in the most obvious. Sometimes you just by the correct one, but if you think through your answer, you stand a high chance of getting it.
All those that you put on our site, like,
Are you not for?
no, like, you put quite a few. I think maybe the last time I printed them off and I tried one. I'm like,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
probably.
yes.
Yes. I didn't last
I
time.
figured I'd wait till the
If you're in my it's nice if it happens. Was it the second?
there's a lot.
No,
There's a lot of what, like, it's what you can buy. I think I have everything in there. computer to biology, art, every aspect, science.
Oh, links to the pattern test,
Yeah.
practice items, probably there is something 40, remember that? It's
242.
So something, yeah, something that sounds similar. You know what that is?
If that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the one where she says just to email someone from here and they
Yeah.
give you like an access code so you can
Right.
get right into it. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Those practice items, what they do, that they train your brain, work these things language, think through. Remember.
What's the link of the test? Is it like 3 hours?
100 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
How many questions?
I think 100. It'll be somewhere to think that. Wow.
The on.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you have all the resources available. Please remember to use them. For you, use them so that you pass the test in one shot or this way. Another $100. And you don't have to feel bad about it. So every time you go practice. All right, so that is one thing. The other thing I want to talk about is like I have never seen so many. You know how, and you don't know it, but in the audit well, I have all the names listed for the class. And then, okay, this assignment, this assignment, this assignment, this assignment, and the left column just says overall grade at that moment. Blue is A, green is B, yellow is C, peach is D, pink is F. I have never seen so many pinks, and I thought, what is going on? So before I came to class, I decided to see what is missing. The reason there are so many pink slots, which means really, really bad grade at the moment, is because it's not because you don't understand what is being taught in the course. It's because you have not done this. You have not done the assignment. Journal article review 1. Some people haven't done that. Reflective journal. Some people confuse the journal article review and the reflective journal, even though they are number different from the syllabus and even though I explained it in class. At this time, you should be only working on your third reflective journal, the last one. In other words, you have had the first 30 points graded, and you have had the second 30 points graded. That's why it is now out of 60. I keep updating you that folder. It is now out of 60. So you have the one remaining that is out of 40. Then it will be 100. So the reason I'm bringing this up right now is so that you really start considering right away what you're going to do to bring up your grade. It hurts me, I'm telling you. Whether you believe it or not, but it hurts me because the other human being too. It hurts me when I see a student going through in my class for 16 weeks and not pass. I used to feel it my fault, but now I realize no, it's not. Some people just don't care. They really don't care. They want something to be in front of their eyes, like, oh, there's something due that they start working with it. It's on the syllabus. It's only too well. We talk about it in class. You probably have it on your calendar somewhere. Now I've learned to tell myself it's not my fault. And every time I write that grade for anybody, I say, God, I did everything I could to do. So I'm not scaring you. I'm just encouraging you to take a step when it matters. If you take a step right now, you're going to bump up your grade. I know those assignments are overdue and I should not even accept them. It should be a permanent 0. But I'm still willing to accept them, even if you lose points. Why am I saying this? Because after the midterm, if you are passing at a C, you stand a good chance to pass the class. If you are passing at a B level at this point, you stand a better chance. If you're passing at an A level, and assuming that you keep that trend going, you stand a chance of being going in the class. Some people have, been passing at B level just after the midterm, and then they drop because they didn't turn in assignment. So I'm going to give you the next 10 minutes. Really, I'm going to wait 10 minutes. Get on your computer, look at your grade, and Don't tell me. Just figure out a way forward and write something down to help you from this point on. I want everybody to know what it's about. So please go ahead. Take your current grade and D2L, check the syllabus, most of them, and the assignments that you already now have a zero, the deadline of all. But my business, you submit the six there and start to count about when you're getting an F, you might work, might get a help with that. But submitting the on the final system until then, when I'm trying something great. And if there's something that is, then you have faith on it, you did it perfectly well. Because out of 60, the 30 points was did it perfectly well. But and something else not it's painful. For discussions, you have yes. If you have the discussion is already graded out of 60. Out of 60. Yes. So you're only required to do 2. So I posted third one only if there are people who need it. So you just need to take best to rather. Well, I'll go ahead and post the third one anyway soon. Did I already post it? Yeah. Right. So that's if you have a 59 and a 60, you get a 60. You're a perfect score, right? I know that's already posted the third one. So if you are happy with what you have out of 60, you don't have to worry about the third discussion. That's how easy I make it fun. And I think it's a quiz that is optional too. The last one, right? Possibly. But I look for it. Quizzes are unrepeatable. You didn't do it, done. So we only do 3 out of 4. The quizzes? Yeah. I think so. Whatever it says on the syllabus, I don't want to change. I don't want to change it. I don't want to change what I have on the syllabus. Yeah. Say that again. We will the presentation. The score after everybody has presented. Oh, yeah. So soon. Today we have the last presentation. You still have time. Look at your first grade. Make it plan a real good one. Tell yourself. Write it somewhere. Find ways to remind us. You know how your metacognition, right? You know how you think about your own thinking. So, right, put it in ways that you will definitely remember. And for the overdue assignments, Well, the earlier the better, because you have to tell me this one was 3 weeks late. So how many points can you get out of that? Even if you do it perfectly. So the earlier the better, because losing points is my mistake. So now we're kind of looking at our grades on D12 and seeing if you are lagging behind, so have a plan to pull yourself up. You know how to look at your grade on D12? Current grade shows you where you are. And if you submit every assignment, it's rare that you would have a bad grade. All bad grades are from non-submission or submissions that do not open, and then I cannot read it. I'm gonna get a 0. But when that happens, I email you right away, and you're supposed to take action right away.
Doesn't give us our it gives us our grades, but not overall grades. So the end.
Right, because this is only internet. Delphi, I see you taking ahead. No, it's up to this point. Up to this point. So if anything were to happen and we have to submit the grades we have, because something happened, God forbid another form drawn or something. Oh, what are the grades on this? Well, that's the grade you get. Use the time before something happens. No, I'm not saying anything. My presenters today is Corona here? Selena, my name. So you know have certain things.
Me too.
Did you sign up for that?
No, I signed up for the 28th, but like I switched.
20th.
Yeah, and I switched for today, but I was just needed to fit add the videos and stuff.
So no one's presenting today. Does anyone know Corona? We're looking at our current grades on the 12 and next is 9, etc. We are learning. You also present today, right? Right?
I'll present.
Something happens with that time of the program. And you know next time is 2 from now. Okay, so you don't have any presentations. Probably Mandy say no. Corona will know you that no. Selena says no. Francis. Okay. So we don't have any presentations here. All of them are next week. That's the last, no, sorry, the next class we have is the last possible time. There was something else that I. But you still have a few minutes before, because I say, oh, yeah, yeah, okay. So finish what we're doing. Your newsletter is supposed to be in hard copy today. I'm going to see it and then okay. Once I okay it, submit electronically. Don't have that ready. The third page shows up. No one. Then sometimes more time. Okay, now that we have the time. Now that we have the time, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to work on your journal today. Get working. Use them wisely. 15 minutes is a lot. Someone get your points for the point. You have those points, right? instructions for it, it's not from, it's not. Something of that sort of thing. Okay, Can you just do the next step? Think that that's no, that's not. So, what is it? your points, list your points, what is that you can come back to them and start writing it down. That's easy. So let's get some of the points out of the way. Hold it up. This one is back for. Oh, the 2 pages. There is something. All this thing. But electronically, it doesn't make. When you submit on it well, make sure it doesn't go to the third page because you can. This is beautiful. Too much text. But it's okay. Spelling, spelling the errors that I'm not doing. Oh, like the one. Wow. I'm gonna do maybe that's up. Yeah. Oh, you need margins. Happening, happening. Okay. And try. Can I say that? Let's make sure the contrast is good enough to use on the screen. Okay. We take this really important. Don't explain it. Yeah. Looks good. Page 2 will get to it. Those margins are and each of us half an inch is all right, this looks good. These margins are good. Oh, good. Yeah. All right. Good job. So go ahead and submit. If you need to make any changes, please do. So that you don't lose any points. So that's a way to eventually get points. I will buck you up. So do it to perfection. The lose points on physical exams, another thing that they have. Any questions on the paper? I'm hoping that none of you copied from somewhere because I can pull up what you copied from somewhere. That's it. Anybody have chat to prepare this for you? If you have chat to prepare to can do that too and instead of doing something creative and that is zero. But if you did forget it, start over. Okay, so so since we have the time, because presenters are so generous with their time today, I hope we can give to them when they need it. I'm going to start the discussion about kindergarten language development in a more practical way. So you're going to work on your own, writing again for like 5 or so minutes, very useful, using the worksheet that just posted. The teacher will have time just make it beneficial to the students. So please use that worksheet. Forgive me for spellings and quickly when you are doing your drawing. So get on, do too well. The document that needs words, get working on it. Give it like maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll take it from there. And when it says the 5 aspects, just about a sentence or two is good enough. You don't have to get details. You have the book, you just read it, it's fine. I just wanted to think about it. So what you're thinking right now is actually thinking of a 3-year-old. Do you know a 3-year-old? Everybody has it. Raise your hand if you don't know it. You really cannot think of a 3-year-old child. Everybody can. Raise your hand if you have had opportunities to interact with a 3-year-old child recently. You see that. Good. What about and when I say 3, it could be 3 to 4, 3.5, somewhere between 3 and 4. What about a 5-year-old child, kindergarten? So you know that. So please write your notes on that. You're not submitting that to me, it's for discussion. So write your notes on that worksheet. I just posted, modify. 10 minutes, you should be ready for discussion.
Think of it, think of it, the difference. Done? And let's finish with the next. Then take a break for 10 minutes. So let's take a break for 15 minutes after. 35 minutes. 25 minutes. So 15 minutes after, break time. 25 minutes after. So that's the So when you come back from break, you're going to sit in groups of three. One group will have 4 people. And you're going to share the information you have and we can tell you that. Take a break. Break. In the stretch. 10 minutes. So but for the 3-year-olds, that is definitely in my opinion developing with the 3-year-olds because for a lot of them it's like the first time that they're in like a classroom setting or a school setting in a way. So they're definitely just getting more exposure to like just the sounds of language and stuff. So and something that's different outside of their home in a way. So just a different adult, different children that come from different backgrounds too. So that I think for me that there's a lot of more development in that for that one.
I said like basic ones.
Right.
I have kids who can't say like stuff like that. So it's like they always say
Yeah.
like, confused, stuff like that. So
If you refer to
Yeah.
a specific child that you know, they'll give you really practical examples.
like
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And it's that age group that you start noticing speech kind of issues.
It's not even like certain. I don't delete or anything, just like
Right.
it's just what they are.
Say it. I know my nephew, like, look at what sound, what specific letter sounds my nephew can. She doesn't go to these, like any native speech thing, anything like that. But she'll look for like videos of what she can do to try to help me with that. You understand? I don't know, that's not the answer, but it's like, I mean, he's definitely going to, I was like, just as long as I feel like, I'm kind of correcting it and just showing him like how to do it, how to correct and say that sound, I was like, it should be okay. But yeah, he's definitely one that has that, and I forget what sound it is that he like mixes up because he just can't say it. And anything to it or no?
The same with the development. I think for some, at this age, some of the parents are like, they're that because they might be delayed, they put some already in the pictures. Some of them. I mean,
It's just like that's pretty because these kids don't have it. So like obviously something that is hard.
Right.
It doesn't mean that there's
I think the majority would be probably the first time parents, even though they've probably seen it with, their own siblings when they were younger, with their nephews before they had their children. And then like when they have theirs, like all that just kind of goes out the window and then they start freaking out. And they start thinking it's something negative. Yeah, agree. I agree. You guys want to do like each one? We'll do the 3, 4, then 5, or just do all 5 aspects on each?
go by.
Right. All right, so we'll do the 5 then now. I think for that's definitely if they were, let's say, like in a preschool and then moved on to kindergarten, I think they've had definite extra exposure, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue. But I think if they are a first time kindergartner and just going to school in general for the first time, I don't want to say it'll be difficult unless maybe their first language isn't English. I think that's right.
That's not just like
So I think for the 5-year-olds, I think that'll, for the most part, they're fine, I think. Phonetic wise,
look on that like
yeah,
all the phone, they all the sounds.
right.
I'm not gonna expect any of my kids to like hold their R's because no word in English requires that.
True, yeah.
I can't compete with it. It's just like that's what they
True.
like they know what joke.
Mhm. Yeah, So then we'll go back to now for semantics for 3-year-olds. Any of the meanings of utterances. I think for them in regards to just like the meaning of words and what someone's saying. I feel like for the 3-year-olds, it's more through like emotions in a way, like facial expressions, only because like when we did the first one with for the project that we had to do, it was with just a 2-year-old, but I guess it'll still kind of work by itself. She understood like when the teacher had asked her something about the book that was like sad, you know, like she understood that and she can see it. Yeah, like she understood what that meant because she even herself was like, she like put her face down, she drooped her, you know, her mouth a little bit, and then like she looked at the teacher and it was just like sad. It's like, oh, okay. So I think with the 3-year-olds, a lot of it is they understand it more like emotions, like how they're seeing someone react to something. And for the 5s, and finding to
The 5s for me, it's a lot more like label because for it's so smart, but like you're cutting your eye.
Mhm.
So it's kind of just like this is what this is called.
Yeah.
That's it. Like one thing I struggle with is like they don't understand that like when it's being multiple things.
Mhm.
Because somersault is also called forward roll.
Mhm.
They don't understand that I use them interchangeably because they get tired of saying it over and over.
Yeah.
But they'll be like, no, we're doing a forward roll over here. And I'm like, that's the same.
Yeah.
thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's true. Well, now that you say that with labeling, it makes sense. The way like classroom, everything in there is not just the picture, but it's labeled with the words too. Because even though they might know what something is, yeah, even though they might know like what that is, it's like they put the picture down and there's the words. So it's true. Syntax for grammar, censuses. For 3-year-olds, for me, I think it's a lot of errors when they're saying things. They're getting their point across, but there's definitely a lot of those grammatical
There's a
errors.
lot of the filler words. So it's like up, down, burn, now. Like they don't really care for it. They're like, don't know like can't because they're like, but like they never use like stuff like that.
And it's so much more like shorter sentences.
Yeah.
Like it's just to the point. Like
Yeah.
I want
Kind of like
that. You know, it's like it's not.
I use the same. I would help them like to get to
Yeah.
start
Mhm.
like together.
Yeah.
That's the right stage.
Okay, 2 things. One, let's learn from the 2 other people. We benefit from them. Let's not only benefit. So learn something new from what they had down in the notes. And the second thing is the group come up with at least 3 differences that you think are you guys come up with 4. So everybody had differences between the difference between 3 and 4-year-olds, so I don't do and 5-year-olds. So think about those differences and see which one I know if you had only one, then I want 3, you don't have much choice, but hopefully you had more than one. So have your 3 differences outlined before we get rid of that. Give it another 2 minutes and
Let's see. Definitely more development time. In regards to
So I think that the whole sometimes it's like then when it's like it's actually not like
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like the only something says like your school class is like eating possessive. That's,
Mhm.
I don't really hear anything like they don't really say like, don't tell why you're.
I think for like the threes that range, it's not always there, but like, you know, when they obviously they hear so much from
Yeah.
teachers, trainers and walking, so then they'll do
Yeah.
that, but yeah, it's not so
Yeah, I definitely. If that was they know the difference, but they don't really say it back.
mhm. And then I just do fine pragmatics. I think for me, I feel like pragmatics is a lot more defined specifically during like the different areas in the classroom. So like dramatic play when they're pretending something, you obviously hear that. You know, they use that context language if they're playing house, if they're playing restaurant, in the blocks, if they're building something, you can hear kind of like a little bit more of a stern voice, I don't know, like construction worker wise, and then circle time, whatever, for example, would be more of that, I guess, academic language, because that's when you're um talking about and reviewing, you know, what you're doing in class. And then for the 3-year-olds, it's definitely developing. I think it's still a lot of it is like baby stage, the way they talk, the way they use you know, language and in context in the classroom or setting.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, guess what to do. So the language activity that I had that I wrote down for 3-4-year-old is like a little thematic project. So for example, if we're talking about colors and I say, you know, you're gonna do a little project where bring pictures in of everything that you know is red. So that is something that they'll share and then, you know, they'll be able to identify. Have a strawberry, have an apple, simple things. And then for a 5-year-old, I put who's familiar with that game Hangman. So doing it but with sight words. Their sight words. So they're already know their alphabet, so they can easily call out letters, and then they already are learning their sight words. So once you know they start seeing certain letters there, they might know how to guess it. So that's what I have for activities.
It's like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like, it's just putting words.
Okay.
So like,
Okay. Yeah.
so it's like you're supposed to do it. It's unable to focus.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny. It's not a thing, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still just words. So you just put it right to do it. So
True. But it's one of those where yeah, they're not saying it to you, but it's they know it.
yeah, so it's
So
like because it's just like when I say it, then you show me.
yeah,
So it is.
it's like not verbally, but yeah, yeah, that's so like
I know, I saw that in the, what's the color?
Mhm.
For the kindergarten.
oh, you did for kindergarten.
I saw the kindergartens where they were storing the words,
Mhm.
their sight words or like those sounds.
Oh, okay.
Will post, like, have those sounds on top and then
Uh-huh.
put them, like,
Yeah, yeah.
that way for that to know their sound and the image. And then sometimes the image don't have the word on the bottom, so they have to ask to put it.
Okay, there's no problem. Have your differences ready. Okay, I'm interested in those first. What are those differences? Any group can go.
So
How does a preschool and kindergarten? What did you write down? Yeah, please go.
So between the three of us, the first difference that we talked about had to do with cognitive awareness and how 5-year-old ability recognize letters and their sounds, gives them more skills when it comes to writing. Our second difference, we talked about age appropriate like letter sound knowledge and how, you know, it takes a lot more patience and developmentally appropriate approaches to get them started with the letter sounds, whereas the 5-year-olds are a little bit more used to picking up that information quicker. And then the third one, we said that, the 5-year-old overall, 5-year-old age is more so like a continuation of the four, like, facts that are given to 3-year-olds. So the 3-year-olds are learning, like, write our names with letters, letters have sounds, sounds can create words, whereas the 5-year-olds are more confident saying, now that I know words, I can form sentences, I can stories, I can recognize words that are around.
Okay, thank you. The differences, yeah, who are we?
So, the activities I had written, like, it was for the 3 years old.
So the group differences.
So the first was they already, the 3 years old, they want to increase their vocab, the words they want to learn, their the new words, like looking around the classroom, they want to learn the new words, and the 5 years old, they already know their letters. They want to form words with the letters they know. They want to write down the different words like rhyming and everything. They want to make up they like to make up the word which doesn't have any in the meaning. Just want to like laugh around. That was the first one.
Yeah.
Second one was like second one I said like based off of my
More independent, and again, as a more independent. Okay. And the third one,
third one they're reading the
moving on
and I
to.
think so we start
Mhm.
3 letters.
Okay, did you guys have just one,
Here, what?
just one difference? You always short from the list that. Okay. I'm talking about what I'm hearing, there was one good break in vocabulary, the advancement, where the kindergarten people, they have a big vocabulary book, they put things together, they're going into something. While these other ones are, they're just doing it. Okay, let's first hear what you said. Oh, whoever you said.
We came up with the differences in the morphemes because
Dolphins?
yeah.
Okay,
because the 3-year-olds don't really use that many suffixes.
that's a good one,
They
yeah.
they only use like D and rarely ing.
That's a
And
good
then
one,
they
yes.
know the possessive apostrophe S, but then when you get to like 5-year-old, they like actually know how to like use words and describe stuff,
Right,
different suffixes.
that is true, yeah, that's a key to the topic. Actually, 5-year-olds know that teach and teacher are different things, but originated from the same time. Climb and climber, they know that. 3-year-olds might struggle with that. And another,
The another difference was that there was a gap in the phonemes that they know because the 3-year-olds struggle to actually pronounce some of them. And so I teach a kid, he can't say thank you, he always says thank you. But then with the 5-year-olds at that point, they know everything they need to know to make words in English.
in terms of sound, yeah.
It just sounds so.
That's the difference. Sound. Not all, sometimes. And the third one,
5-year-olds still like get more like being careful. So the context of like if they're playing house, they might take on a different tone for what role they're playing.
oh, that's true, yeah. They know how to pretend.
Yes.
They've had more exposure of going to a restaurant and shopping.
Okay, so much. How about you guys? And for, safety, it says, the are, versus like like, going out with like, some. You know, sure. Does it sound like Netflix? So yeah, that's what Trump does. In terms of sound, I feel, but if they say cat, they'll be younger, right? By three, they have that lot of the sound, the vocabulary. That's the same thing I was saying about that. Like different sound. Sometimes they don't pay their attention to how to sound. But if you kind of know what they say right. So you know they can do it, but they can get away doing it an easy way on their own, they'll do it. Now, in terms of the activity, sequencing is still, I think, a 5-year-old would be more able than the should tell would be for the young guy, person is starting to 5-year-old. That's what that's it. I don't know if I understand. Okay, do you have another? Yeah. Right. Right. So just okay, thank you so much. The differences are actually those mentioned are actually key as to do with right, as to which blend sounds together, as to building words versus building sentences. The awareness that sounds make words may be just fuzzy for 3 year-olds, but for kindergartners, they know for sure. They know sounds of the words and they manipulate the words. So those are now if you're teaching preschool, raise your hand, sir. Raise your hand if you think, oh. Okay, raise your hand. You really want to preschool when you were license. You really want to preschool. Want to teach 3 and 4 year-olds. You really want to. Oh. All right. Bring more men. Now raise your hand. Might end up teaching preschool when you're like might end up there, but still you're not your target. Why not? What level do you want to? But you might fall into preschool that why the guy? Because they're like they're still learning like schoolers, but yeah. They depend on something. No, yes, they still have access. Yeah. Generally, yes. They go like after. Right. Okay. What if you have to get that? Not what. Okay. How to ridiculous. You know, there are 2 adults, maybe 4 adults in the house. They have everything stuff. And now you have that, 5-year-old. I would say bad things, but that can be challenging. Raise your hand if you're looking forward to teaching in 2nd grade. Oh, really? Yeah. Don't mind teaching 2nd grade? Yeah, for subjects outside of yeah. Yeah. And I feel like some of the experience to have like grades are harder. Yeah. I'm happy to see someone who's looking for second grade. Most of my students said, "Oh, first grade is fine." They don't have first grade. Raise your hand and say, "No, no, first grade." I'm kidding. don't want first grade, you want second grade. You want preschool, kindergarten. Wow. What did you want to say? Right, if you're already working in preschool, then you would want to keep working with it. Okay, why not?
I think, kind of look back, I feel like that, I used to work in kindergarten, so five.
Right. Both of the pieces.
Different stories, more. They're starting to get that, like, so.
Yeah. That's a really good point that goes back to brain research. Remember how we said that not many people understand between 0 and 3, the development, how rapid that is, and between 3 and 5. Mentioning preschool and kindergarten, mentioning that difference, it's really, really key. Not people outside the field don't think there's any difference. You have an infant, toddler, preschooler, kindergarten, they're all children, give them toys and they hang around, and at the end of the day, the job is done. That is a big problem because even parents have a lot of resources because even communities that have a lot, because they don't really have. It's not that they don't know; they just haven't found it important to pay attention to how fast things go. 0 to 3. Always remember this, and that's why I have those videos on the website of the syllabus. Just think about it this way. From 0 to 3, somebody has shown up in this world who did not speak wherever they come from. But now, 3 years after, they are speaking with you, they are using simple sentences, and by 5 years, they are conversational in the language they speak. What else can be mastered so quickly in 5 years? Which new language to learn and master? What about in 3 years? So that rapid development from 0 to 3 to master the basics of the language they're exposed to, and 3 to 5 to really be comfortable conversing is amazing. Neuroscientists are doing the brain research. They came out explain how that happens. They fall back to education. They fall back to what is exposure to language, the language the children hear at home, the interactions, the actions that go with the language that they hear, the overhead language, someone talking to someone and seeing something happening, that helps bring out the language. And the fact that the child born anywhere in the world, regardless of the first language of the parent, the child will speak whatever language the child responds to, that confuses them. So you know how quickly people relate to each other. No. The child is exposed to this language, they just pick it up. 2, they just speak both of them up. 3, they just speak all of them. In 3 years. It's amazing. So that lack of understanding, that's where you come in. And probably it's a good thing that you want to be preschool kindergarten, because you are really trying to catch them between 3 and 4, because before that they're daycare anyway. But even people daycare, they really need to learn more about brain research. Brain research, some words like synapses and left brain, right brain, these are words that are being thrown around within households. But the intense understanding of how children are learning one day, it's almost like a whole year of learning. So that lack of understanding, you guys are feeling that. Okay.
I was just gonna say, that's so. Are like this and for plans. If I like even yellows, like that, those aren't able to put in place and regardless. Kind of doing all sorts of protective markets for
Right. Actually, inclusion has to start in preschool because they're coming in with whatever they have, whatever they're bringing in, in terms of their exposure, their abilities, their dislikes, their likes, their experiences. This is where, unfortunately, I don't know if they've been assessed for any certain at that point yet. So it falls back on you to make your class so inclusive and accommodate all those differences. Language differences are serious, really, because anything that the child can think, can do, can demonstrate, is different. No wonder the research will keep telling you that a child is doing well cognitively, you will see that in their language. Of course, it's the way the cognition comes out. How else are you going to show if not by words or communication? Okay, so stay where you are, because I don't want you to treat this as a separate discussion. It's the same discussion. Anything else that you want to point out that you want to talk about? I'm sorry. No. Anything interesting? You describe the child that you're working with. Okay, so I asked the start of what this is from preschool to kindergarten. Does any of these points relate to what you were talking about? So, what point? Spending less daytime, while in kindergarten, the more daytime. Most of the preschool are what? Half day? Lots of- Are there
Think with those that have that like wraparound care where they're there, nap time, meal times and all that.
Oh, I see. Okay. What about instructions? Formal and informal. If you're working in preschool, how formal is your instruction? You stand in the front and, oh, did you what was that about that? 30 minutes. Okay. So it has to be, this is very important. That's why you have sentence in the class. It has to be fun. Everybody's doing, so what about the time? Because it's like about stuff. Maybe start with what? That time, several times. Okay. And then what? Whatever else you can find. Now, if you're focusing on language, but you're not language, principle of everything. So you're focused on language, you have to hear the of language. Sometimes they have vocabulary, story, is it having and then so this is where you want to see the kindergarten. I want to say something about metalinguistic knowledge. In preschool, people just use language. They don't think about it. But in kindergarten, thinking about language is important. Like the spelling of their name. And the spelling of their name, put them down, things like sound. So then talk about how they come to the from right. Anything else on highlight? Go back to what we discussed. That makes sense. That comment. Phonetic knowledge. Phonetic knowledge. Well, it's really phonetic awareness, but yeah, that's fine. Speech actually is also a way to demonstrate phonetic knowledge or awareness of phonics. But before they get to kindergarten, they just produce those sounds without necessarily thinking of checking them out. But kindergarten are more aware. So speech ends writing. So the reading and writing comes up very prominently in kindergarten. Reading is important subject, major because developing does the does it. You have to know what those by the way. I know. Okay. Give me examples related to reading. Related to that? But the word that's that means they're kind of referring to that, maybe some pictures that they're memory, okay? Or things in the context of our home. Or on the road and driving, they see something, doesn't have to be in writing, but something that represents a meaning and triggers something in their head. Yeah, I think it's a story that when I was walking with kids for a walk, I was doing a walk. Yeah. And people cross the street, then to the left, to the right, and then side and back, then for you would. It's a hard. But I heard that from many countries. Right. Think about when you are with children or driving the car, they see something, oh, let's go to practice, I'm hungry. You think they read something, they saw a sign or something. So they begin to put meaning in symbols. So you open the fridge. Which juice do you want? They cannot or juice, they cannot eat orange juice, but they say that one. They're relating that symbol to some taste. So reading really makes meaning to them. It's something practical. So reading and writing and more focus on the details of the word. The kindergarten that's possible. Now you have to, I tell my students all the time, do not plan any activity for young children without having those two in it. Why? They go together. If they read something, have them write something that relates to what they read. So that way they know you get a meaning from some symbols, but you can also put meaning in some sense, and someone else can do it. Encoding and decoding. Okay? Oh, let's get this. Idioms, that's fine. Proverbs, we have millions of them. Oh, there are thousands and thousands of proverbs in African languages, by the way. That's how they teach you. They don't teach you. They don't teach you directly. If I did something wrong as a little girl, my father would say, what you got on you are. That means people who don't think are the ones that get the short end of the stick. So then you have to discover your own mistake because of what you heard. So it's an indirect of thousands of them. Idioms are like give me an example of an idiom. You know how you have exclamation marks or something that is, yeah, okay, I'll think of that. Oh, metaphors. Yeah, you have one. Right, yes. Oh, I'm hungry as a, have you heard I can eat a horse? Yeah. But it's all figurative language. What we're saying too, that's another category. There are so many different categories. That's what we have. I don't know what. I cannot think of the word in English. Because African languages are so deep. African languages are so deep. The surface level is like the fifth layer or so. So we have, maybe you have, it's like somebody giving you, okay, translate literally, maybe that'll make sense. Young children play games. They love this in kindergarten. They play games. They say proposing or something. It's like there are two things on each side of the river, but they're talking about the eyes. What do you call that in English? Yeah, they say, for example, My house does not have a door. What is the answer? N. Okay. Two people are standing on each side of the barrier. I. Riddle. Come on. I'm finding myself. Okay. Puns. Puns. Think of puns. Actually, go ahead and Google puns for your children. Some of them are really funny. Give it like 1 minute. Puns for your children. Puns for kindergarten. That's all. Just read it out loud when you find one. That's interesting. Yes, please. Wow, okay. That's okay. My my brother and my brother. Brother got horses. It's and my brother said to please him along. It's everybody heard it. So let's him along to be or leave and he gathered the okay. Did you get 50 marks for children? What was is that? I think that's what I meant. Big planet, yes. One more. Yeah. I think this one I want to stuff in my head. Kindergarten, preschooler resisting arrest. Okay. Why is the preschooler resisting arrest? Exactly. You got it. So kindergarten enjoy yourself because anything that goes outside of what they think is proper makes them laugh, they roll laughing. So things sound really important. If you say it's raining dogs and cats, or I think in their mind it's dogs and cats, there's something else. Thing like that. And it's even to learn language actually. Those games they need to be encouraged. So that's something that vocabulary, sound, and that's about it. I need to be aware of the stages, yeah. Describe the picture. It's on the so, and that's not because you're not learning because it's on the side, because you want to know it, right? One part of the vertical thing. So those are the pre-phonemic when they haven't captured any consistency in the sounds, any phonemic when they see one letter, one sound. So and they might be repeating R, that's Peter. That's good enough. Later in stage, awareness of vowels and consonants, so they start inserting vowels in whatever consonant. Sometimes they write stretches that they don't know what they mean. Have you had a child scribble something and then they come to you and say, look, what did I write? But now they just want writing something. Just playing with it. The transition of stage is very important because it's a trial and error. They're now getting ready for the book. We talked quite a bit about this in our groups. Let me know if anything catches your attention. It's very tricky, I should say, to try and estimate a child's language development level by what you hear them say. Because they may not say it, but they know it. By the time they say something, they have so much more already. In linguistics, they say children are building a mental dictionary. After a certain point, that they're confident that they can go into that dictionary and pull out words to put together. Maybe. So if you only pay attention to what they're saying or how they're using language and judge from that, that will be inadequate. You might want to plan maybe different scenarios that will really encourage them to use their highest abilities of language in that community. Otherwise, would always underrate because they don't always demonstrate their highest language. Even just for vocabulary, they have many more words than they do than they speak. In the book, I think in this book too, when you research articles, you will see the estimates of how many words kindergartners know. Between 800 and 10,000. Yeah, that's an estimate. So those are really just wild estimates. It's not about how many, it's how often does a situation arise where they can use those words in meaningful ways. So engaging them in conversation is really, really having them doing activities that work for language is really, really important too. Because the more they do, the more they interact with the teachers and the children, then they see the use for language when they're asking for materials. Can I have that? Or I need this, can I have that? Or can I play with so and so? The practical aspect of it, the pragmatics of it will force the language to come out. And it's up to you, the teacher, to plan. Fortunately, it has been studied for long enough, and preschool classrooms are organized the same way. So you're not going to be inventing the same. Okay, this comes up in semantics again. Oh, in stories. I told you about oral tradition in storytelling. It makes me wonder, why don't children tell stories? They always read stories. Well, reading stories is good. But in kindergarten, you were famous. If you were going to school when I did, you were famous if you could tell stories. And that is really good because it activates the cognition. It activates the cognition as you're telling the story, and some of the comments are not true. You're just adding words to what your grandmother told you, what your brother said, it was really funny. So that part of thinking and telling stories is really, really good for them. But I don't see children in North America, in Canada too, I don't see much of that. They don't tell stories, they read stories. So they're kind of receiving those sounds which carry meaning, organized in ways that carry meaning, but they're not getting enough of the activation of stories to come out of them. What do you think?
So I think a lot of it has to do with like the teacher kind of getting a story out of them, even if it's something from like their weekend, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they might just be like, you know, oh yeah, I went, you know, to the store, but then they'll leave it at that. But it's like, it's the teacher now, you have to kind of, I don't want to say force, but you got to force, okay, well, what did you see at the store? What did you buy? So,
Right, the question is getting
yeah.
It's really important, especially if they have had, if you go to the museum or you went to a nature walk, use that as for them to tell people visually because they saw it. Maybe they picked up an animal, maybe they saw something for several minutes. Getting out of it. Why? Because by telling this story or by telling you a story about their birthday party last week at home or whatever, they are activating their language faculty and also they're using everything, semantics, phonetics, everything, plus thinking part of it, and the creative part of it. Very powerful telling stories, more than reading stories. Reading stories is good too. But after a while, the very hungry caterpillar sits there for 50 years, we're still reading it. Should do it, should put it in or something. But I don't know. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm half, like telling jokes. That's a good one too. Telling stories, telling jokes. As long as they're producing something. This is grammar. They're now, remember those patterns, SBA, SBO, SD, those patterns, there are about 5 or 7 of them. They can actually make complex sentences. not very complex, but they are they're beyond the simple, the SVO, SVA. They use pronouns a lot. They use noun phrases. What is a noun phrase? Oh, you have an example now. Okay. Yeah, a noun and a noun phrase. Those are they serve the same function, but they're different. When it is phrased, it carries more meaning. For example, the noun phrase can be a whole, it can have a whole set of things in it. For example, the signpost that I saw when I was coming to school, that whole thing is a noun phrase. Was made by this company. So the main verb here is was. So that whole sentence was nonsense. The nonsense was what it was that you saw. They just describe it. Anyway, I can see you're not taking that detail. Passive sentences, change that into passive, into active. Passive sentences versus active sentences. So change that one into active. Okay. Yeah. So active when you put the act on before the act. Passive when you start with the act, and then you can actually put it at the end or not. Goes back to the sentence structure where there will be one direct, one indirect. I don't know. I don't think the brain that two direct. Okay. Let's get examples. Give me examples of comparatives. No. Comparatives such as taller than, hungrier than, but that's what I think is right now. Comparative. What about superlatives such as say it loud? Yes. Quickest, hungriest, most careful. See, it is three levels. The adjective, then more, then most. Now, kindergarteners, will not begin to look, for the regular ones, they may know that tall and taller, what it means. Oh, I'm taller than you. They know what they mean. Because I'm the tallest, yeah, you know, the tallest in the group. So ER and those are comparative and superlative, you know. Noun suffixes. I gave you the morpheme. Remember that? Prefixes and suffixes. Teach, teacher. Okay. Possible, impossible. Well, it's nouns, so free something. Possessive markers such as apostrophe S. Mine, yours. Is this new to you? It is tired, right? Pragmatic. Anything that you want me to elaborate. I told at the beginning of this course that you would know the 5 aspects of language knowledge like the back of your hand. You're doing it now. Yeah. If you get anything wrong about that, you need to lose points from another item that you got right. What about the academic register? Should we use that in kindergarten or is that too early for them? We talked about registers, remember? When we're talking about language diversity. What is a register? Say that again. Oh, specific for okay, yeah. Not right, the language, not just what how language is used in specific areas like discipline, like the legal register, business register. Okay, for you, teacher register, what language, what words would come up often? What would tell you that these people must be teachers? What words would be here, for example? or must be talking about teaching? What word? Lesson plan? Curriculum? Grading? I know you want to go, but what is it? Now, the academic register is actually the formal version of the language. Every language has that. There is the standard version and there is the less standard version. So the standard, the formal type of that particular language is the one that's supposed to be used in the class. Not the entire time, because there are times you're using the housekeeping type of language, just getting things in order. But you have to keep, you have to keep in mind that the children want to hear good language model. Good language model. You're speaking using complete sentences so that they hear the structure repeated. Okay, the vocabulary, call things by their names, not slang. Not slang, not incomplete sentences. It just have to give them that sense of language that is formal and that is in the class. Why? Well, because it's written in textbooks. Children have to know that you don't write the way you speak. When you are writing, you have to make sure that it is clear enough for the reader. When you're speaking, you're using gestures, you're adding some other ways of conveying the meaning, but when you're writing, the person only has the paper. So the writing has to be very clear. Every sentence has to be complete, and every sentence has to be clear. This has to start early again. Right, within the classroom, use of formal language is important because it might be the only place that they're experiencing a formal type of study. Outside the classroom, they have no control. Chapter 9 gives you some guidelines for curriculum. No, this is yeah. What the curriculum includes actually, not guidelines. Yes, right. It's pretty straightforward. This is where inclusion comes in. While inclusion, diversity, addressing every child's needs, instruction, all that comes back. There are some guidelines. Let's go and see. What do you think will be the most challenging? So kindergartners read Nancy, like, read life, knowledge books. Especially at Nancy White. Yeah, that's real life. Yeah. But read about it. What do you think might be challenging for you? I want to give it that. One. Oh, you're talking about here? Yeah. Oh, I see. What is that? Oh, yes, because the curriculum is pretty set because you have testing coming through. You are required to explain things by a certain time in the school year. But you can modify within your own ability to the classroom and to the material, time spent on certain things that you for the children. You have a pretty that what the people would be on, yeah, and like that. Oh, but you have to, you have to do the best because look at every child as child you have to do to help them with what, you know, in a way that you can really can't do from it's a lot of fun. You go home away, but then it's but attending every individual child not how many do you think you have in kindergarten? 26 something? even more. I've seen really large class. That part, nobody talks about it because nobody can pay it. But paying individual attention to a child is necessary. Can you read perfectly? No. Can you try your best? Absolutely. Because if you don't, then the child lags behind in one way, and then that rolls into another thing. That rolls into another thing. The domino effect can actually affect the child negatively. You don't want to be this person. Right? That's what I'm saying. You can't do it more. How can you solve that though? It's a big one. How can you solve anybody? How can you help? Because every child will be needing something slightly different, maybe very different. How can you handle that? Within your or I'll get to the second. Okay, yes, that's a strategy. If you sometimes you have classrooms where you have 3-year-olds all the way to almost 6-year-olds, 5+. Then have older children help in the younger ones. That could work. What about what did you want to say? Right.
So you could turn like up paper assignment into like for the assignment.
Mm-hmm. Right, worksheets will not work well in kindergarten. Forget it. Give them things to do. Give them things to do, things to enjoy, things to taste. Make a recipe and taste it and talk about it. Give them things that make sense. Children are very practical. They don't care about theory. It's really beyond them. That's a problem for later. But now they just want to do things that they like doing and talk about them because your focus in this case is language. So you want to use every opportunity to bring out language as much as possible and give yourself chances for accessing the language in ways that you get feedback that is actually representative of the child's ability. That's what I was saying earlier. That if you only depend on one thing, maybe to hear what they say, and they're not writing much in kindergarten, you will not be able to estimate the child's language ability. You have to provide the training for it. Anything else on that guideline? List of guidelines? Some people discourage spelling. I'm like that. I think it's important, but some people discourage spelling for the sake of it. As long as it doesn't take too much time and become boring. If the word came from a story, or if community helper came and used the word that the children did not end up in vocabulary, there's nothing wrong with learning how to spell. So it has to be within context. Let's not give them list of then unblended words. All right, go to chapter 8, go to chapter 9. Explanation of what this is. So we are not meeting here next class. Last time I came. This is what takes away. No, it doesn't take away. You gain the quantity, right? But the question is how is that? As I said at the beginning of class, I'll say it again right now. If you have when that area of saying peach is like yellow is C, green is B, blue is A, that's what shows right. When that noise part, it's not because you're not doing well. It's because most I checked. It's most probably because you did not submit all the files. And I cannot. So when you are 2 days late, 3 days late, go ahead and submit. They don't sit there. I may not pay attention to it. But when it comes at the end of the semester, I'm assigning grades and we're getting a C. Maybe 2 assignments that were submitted within the week, not too late, would give you points to be back to proceed. And that would save your time. So I'm pleading, please submit all assignments. When they're late submitted anyway, I love the 12, but the 12 tells me how many days late. Yeah, it tells me exactly how many days left. So within the week, you might not lose much time because Sunday is the day. If it's your Monday, you only do 4 days later, submit it in the same week. But beyond 1 week or more, I would say go ahead and submit. Who knows? You might need those few points you might get. And when you submit the next assignment, do it perfectly because you're going to lose points anyway. Do it perfectly so that you have something even after you lose points. But my emphasis is for you to submit things on time. That's the best case scenario. So please do that. Anything else that you want to know or be sure about before we end class? About what you're doing at home next? Do you have enough work to do at home next? What is it? What do you have? Well, I saw the draft. 7 people submitted the draft already for the major report. That's good because when I have time, I'm going to read it with feedback. Guess what? They're going to use that feedback, write the final paper, submit it, they're done. What is it that is due in 2 weeks that you want to know more about? Okay, sure. Or the preschool observation. Okay, I'll tell you how it works. The preschool observation is not a paper. You observe a preschool child, 3 and 4 years old. Don't get to kindergarten because that's a little bit more advanced. So between 3 and 4. Yeah, limit yourself between 3 and 4. You just listen to the child. It's not a formal observation. You can listen to the child or interact with the child or someone else is interacting with the child, but listen to the child's language. And what are you doing? On a 2-page summary, you are writing phonemic development and just saying what you heard. Semantic development, what you heard. Syntactic development, what you think. Kind of what you did today. So, morphemic development, pragmatic development. The 5 aspects briefly described with examples, quotations from the child. 2-page, that's what it is. Now, what do you do with that 2-page? You submit it. You submit it when it is due. And then you bring it to class. You bring it to class after you submit. And I'll tell you why. People miss this point. When you submit it, you get 20 points for the submission. The 2-page summary, 5 aspects. Don't use the child's real name. So you get 20 points for that 2-page summary. When you come to class, you discuss that within a group. So you share that and you process it in your thinking. You submit something as part of that group. So the group submits one thing. And that's another 20 points. So together 40 points. What happens is that, oh, I'm going to read the group, I have to do it, I'll submit after group. You lose 20 points. And actually, I don't accept after group if there is no before group. So the earlier submission before group is necessary. What it tells me is that you get to the group without a summary and you are getting those points from the members of the group. No, that's a 0. You don't. The condition for getting the 20 points from class discussion is having your summary submitted already and brought to class for discussion. That way you're earning the points and you're not depending on it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. I'm glad it's clear. Anything else that you do when I'm just listening to the child, like saying too many. Yeah, taking notes. Yeah, somebody told me earlier, semesters ago, that they were sneaking up on observing a preschool line some playground, and then the parents were like, use your brain. Don't mention my name when they catch you. Go ahead. It doesn't have to be recorded. Oh no, there's no recording. No. This is very informal. You can do it in your classroom. Please don't observe your child because I'm going to be writing from your hand. Aren't you writing from something from an observation? More questions? I'll see you in 2 weeks. Submit everything that is supposed to be submitted by then. I want everybody to catch up. Sincerely, I mean it. Catch up with all the assignments. I don't care if you don't click for 3 days. Yeah, but submit everything that is supposed to be submitted. So finally, what? God, chapter was the God, that's right. The one is the last. How do you do that? Yeah. Okay. How do you- okay, then I can bring it down. No, I wouldn't have to do that, just make it make sense to you. Oh, I know. All right. All right, so next time. Otherwise.